Hello students, this is Shaheen here. So here I am with the continuation of the video on comparative anatomy of brain in vertebrates. So in the previous video I was explaining about how actually embryonically or during the embryonic stages how neural tube was differentiated, or first we read about how neural tube was formed out of ectodermal cells, and later on the differentiation of neural tube we have seen. So basically neural tube is divided into three primary brain vesicles, that is Prosen, Mason and rhombencephalon. So later on we have seen how these primary vesicles have been differentiated into the secondary brain vesicles, and also we have seen all these brain vesicles were enclosed in cavities. So we call them as ventricles. So there were four brain ventricles. So apart from this, we have also seen from which part of the brain, or from what vesicle of the brain the derivatives of other parts of the brain were taken place. So here, so all that information which I explained so far is very important to now understand the comparisons of different vertebrate brains. So here the displayed image shows the structures of brain in different vertebrates. So here you can see the picture displays different vertebrate brains. So here brain of all vertebrates, that is right from fishes to mammals, is built accordance with the same architectural plan. That is how we have studied the embryonical derivation of the brain. So all those aspects, they remain same. That means they have a same plan of arrangements or same architectural plan. However, the formation of brain according to the evolution, it differs from one vertebrate to other vertebrate. That is, in different vertebrates it varies as per the evolution. So this is due to this differentiation, or that it means the different structures that has been evolved as a part of evolution in different vertebrates, it is due to the habits and the behavior of the animals. Now let us see one by one in each vertebrate how the brain is arranged or how it is formed. So here I am explaining the first class of vertebrates, or we are taking first example, that is cyclostome. But as per your syllabus you can focus only on the 5 classes, that is fishes to mammals, and also the same examples what I was explaining in the previous aspects of comparisons, that is comparative anatomy in different aspects. So same example you can focus, but you need to know how the brain is present even in other examples or classes. So here I am taking first example as cyclostome, that is lamprey. So here the cyclostomes have got primitive brain, and the subdivisions are not so well marked. Here you can see the divisions, they are not so distinct as we have seen in the typical diagram. So here we can see 2 olfactory lobes, here the 2 olfactory lobes, and they are connected to the 2 olfactory tracts. The cerebral hemispheres, the cerebrum is there, but these cerebral hemispheres are not so distinct, and they can be they appear as very small kind of cerebral hemispheres. But we can see well developed medulla oblongata. So medulla oblongata, it forms the hind brain, that is rhombencephalon or myelencephalon. So you have to remember the actual parts of the brain, and these are all the derivatives, so these are actually the derivatives. So you should know what derivative is coming from which part of the brain or which vesicle of the brain. So that's why I explained about the basics. So here, as the cyclostome brain is primitive, the subdivisions of the cyclostome brain, they are not well distinct. There are 2 olfactory lobes present, and we can see well developed medulla oblongata, whereas the cerebral hemispheres are very small, and the cerebellum, The cerebellum here, it is band like, so it is band like, and it is present in the form of transverse band. So the cerebellum, it is present in the form of a small transverse band, and we can also see the presence of habenular ganglion. So this is present in the cerebrum part. So that was about the brain of cyclostome. So remember all the points and also the diagram. So next, let us move on to the brain of fish. So here the diagram of brain of fish is mentioned about only bony fishes. So we have to read even the chondrichthyan brain. So here here I have displayed one more diagram, that is, this is the brain of chondrichthyes or brain of shark. So here in the brain of shark, so as and when I move on to the further explanation about the brain in other vertebrates, you need to compare with that, compare this explanation with the previous brain. So here you can see the olfactory lobes, they are very prominent and they are present on either side. That means two olfactory lobes are present, they are extremely large when compared to that of the previous brain, that is cyclostome brain. And here we can also see the presence of two optic lobes. Here the optic lobes, along with the optic lobes, we find one more structure called as pallium. So pallium, it is actually it is called as the roof of cerebrum. So that pallium is also present, but it is moderate in size, and also optic lobes are also very moderate in size. In the this is the dorsal view and this is the ventral view. We can also, in the ventral view of the brain, we can see succus vasculosus. So this is a vascular sense organ. So this succus vasculosus, it is attached to the hypophysis. So this is hypophysis. Hypophysis is also called as pituitary gland, which this pituitary gland, in turn, it is connected to the cerebellum. So this is the ventral portion. So this ventral portion actually corresponds to cerebellum. So this cerebellum, it connects succus vasculosus and also hypophysis. Hypophysis is also called as pituitary gland. Along with this, we can also see pineal apparatus. So pineal apparatus is also well developed. Here you can see pineal stalk or pineal apparatus. In case of a brain of shark, the cerebellum is very large. It is due to the active swimming habit. So as we know, cerebellum, it is the organ which helps in the balance of the body. So because fish is always actively moving, so it has to balance its body, so cerebellum should be well developed. Hence here cerebellum is especially large. We can also see the presence of cerebrum and also choroid plexus. The cerebellum, near to the cerebellum, that is at the posterior side of the cerebellum, we can find restiform bodies, and their shape is like ruffle. So they are ruffle like restiform bodies. Apart from these derivatives of the brain, we can also see optic chiasma near the ventral view of brain, and we can see infundibulum, and we can also find the distinct divisions of the brain here. So unlike the cyclostome, which was very primitive, in fish the brain has bit evolved and it is little developed than that of the cyclostomes. So this was about the brain of fish. Now coming to the next example in case of fishes itself. So far we read the brain of shark. So now we shall see the brain of bony fish, that is osteichthyes or teleost fish. So here we are taking the example of perch. So it is a bony fish. So in case of bony fish, the olfactory lobes, the cerebral hemispheres are very distinct. The olfactory lobes are very larger than that of shark. The cerebral hemispheres are very large and distinct, and the diencephalon, the diencephalon is bit smaller, whereas the optic lobes and cerebellum is very large. So here compared to the shark brain, the presence of olfactory lobe, the cerebral hemisphere and the diencephalon, so these three structures are bit smaller than that of the optic lobe and cerebellum. So here the medulla oblongata is also quite distinct, and in case of some bony fishes we can also see restriform bodies, whereas in case of perch, the example what I have taken, in case of this example restriform bodies are not seen, whereas we can find pineal apparatus, that is pineal body, but parapineal body is absent. So along with the olfactory lobes we can see olfactory tracts ending with olfactory bulb. So this was about the brain of bony fish. So here you need to compare the diagrams and understand, then only you can make the comparison. So far we read cyclostome brain and also the brain of shark, and now we have studied the brain of bony fish. So now let us move on to the next class of brain, which is called as amphibian brain. In case of amphibian brain, the olfactory lobes, they are smaller, whereas the optic lobes are bit larger than that of olfactory lobes. In case of frog, that is amphibian, we can also see the cerebral hemispheres, they are more developed than that of the previous class, that is fishes. There it was not so developed, but here we can see the much development of the cerebral hemispheres. Along with this we can also see the presence of corpus striatum. So this corpus striatum, it actually is the structure that receives greater number of sensory fibers. Now coming to the next part of the brain, that is cerebellum. So the cerebellum is quite reduced and it is less developed than that of the previous one, that is fish. In fish we saw cerebellum was, that is especially in the bony fish, the cerebellum was very much developed, and also in case of shark we have seen cerebellum was well developed because they undergo active swimming, so they have to balance the body, whereas in amphibians it doesn't need such development because they don't undergo active swimming here. So here cerebellum is quite reduced, and also medulla oblongata, it is also little reduced and it exhibits a small structure here. And olfactory lobes, they do not have any olfactory tract or bulb, unlike the fish. So this is the basic structure of the amphibian brain. If you remember this much and the comparison with the other examples, that is more than enough. So now quickly we shall move on to the reptilian brain. Here I am taking the example of snake here, but it is quite same in the other examples also. So in case of reptiles, that is here the telencephalon, that is the anterior part of the brain, it becomes much larger. You can see this cerebral, this is cerebrum part, so this is cerebral hemisphere. So this region forms the telencephalon. If you remember the tabular column I explained in the last video, you can understand from which part of the brain what is getting derived. So cerebrum is the derivation of telencephalon. So here in case of reptile, it is much enlarged portion of the brain in reptiles, whereas the olfactory lobes are larger than that of the amphibian. So in amphibians they were very small, but in case of reptile the olfactory lobe is much larger. We can find the larger optic lobes also, which is found posterior to the telencephalon or cerebrum. Apart from this, we can find the pineal body. So this was seen in almost all the previous examples also, and also in amphibian. So pineal body is present even in case of reptile. So the third ventricle, that is the third ventricle, I explained about the cavities of brain. The third ventricle, it actually surrounds the diencephalon. Okay, the third ventricle here, it is reduced and it is connected to the narrow cerebral aqueduct. So cerebral aqueduct, it actually surrounds the midbrain, that is mesencephalon. So here third ventricle is reduced to a smaller or narrower cerebral aqueduct. So cerebellum, so now coming to cerebellum, it is little developed than that of the cerebellum of amphibian. So it means it is little larger here. You can compare the diagram. So medulla, that is cerebellum, it is little larger. This is cerebellum. So here it was a narrow band-like structure, but here it is bit larger. Whereas the medulla is also bit well developed in case of reptile. So after the medulla, the structure that continues is the spinal cord. So that is common in case of all the examples. So this was about the reptilian brain. So here the major difference is seen in case of cerebrum, that is telencephalon. It is much larger than that of the previous example. So the next example we have to study is the brain of bird. So here at the last what I am pointing, so this is the structure of the brain in case of bird, and the example here it is mentioned is pigeon. So brain in case of pigeon, it is quite and proportionately larger than that of the reptile. So reptile, you can compare the reptilian brain and the brain of bird or pigeon. So it is quite larger than that of the reptilian brain, whereas the olfactory lobes are much smaller than that of the reptilian brain. So olfactory lobes are small, but the two cerebral hemispheres, they are larger. So the cerebral hemispheres are larger than that of the reptile, and they are smooth and projected over the diencephalon. So this portion forms the diencephalon. So here they are present over the diencephalon, so that they meet the next portion, that is cerebellum. So cerebellum is also quite developed when with respect to the reptilian brain. There it was quite reduced, but it was little developed from that of the amphibian brain. But when we compare the reptilian brain with the bird brain, here the cerebellum is quite large. Here pallium is also seen, and it is thin. Pallium is very thin. So pallium actually forms the roof of the cerebrum, whereas the corpus striatum, so this corpus striatum is the structure. So as pallium was forming the roof of the cerebrum, this corpus striatum, it forms the floor of the cerebrum. So this corpus striatum is greatly enlarged with respect to the pallium. So pallium is thin, whereas corpus striatum is large. The optic lobes are developed conspicuously. So these optic lobes are conspicuously developed, or they are quite developed than that of the reptilian brain. The next structure what we can see that is difference with the previous example is the presence of cerebellum. That is cerebellum, as I said, it is quite developed and it has a numerous folds, that is several folds we can see. And also medulla oblongata, it is quite similar with that of the reptile, but because this is a bird brain, some of the structures, I mean almost all the structures are most developed when we compare with the reptilian brain. Hope you understood the brain of the bird. The next brain, that is the last example in the comparative anatomy of brain in vertebrates, is the brain in mammal. So here we are taking both the examples, that is platypus and sheep. So platypus, basically it is the example for prototherian, that is egg laying mammals, and the sheep is the example for eutherian, that is placental mammals. So these two examples I have considered here, or it is considered in the given chart. It is because to see the differences between the same class. So both belongs to same class. Subclasses are different. Here platypus is belonging to Prototheria, that is egg-laying mammals, whereas sheep belongs to Eutheria, that belongs to placental mammals, that is Eutheria. But you can see much differences among the brain structure or the plan of brain. So brain is when compared with the other examples till birds, we can say brain is proportionately much larger in case of mammals, whereas the cerebral hemispheres are also much larger and much developed when we compare the other examples. Here the cerebral hemisphere in case of the Prototheria, in case of Eutheria, and also in case of Metatheria, they are very smooth, they are large. So I'll explain you the brain in case of platypus. Here you can see reduced olfactory bulbs, you can see cerebral hemisphere, they are quite larger than the other vertebrates. Cerebrum is quite larger, and the cerebral hemisphere, so the cerebral hemisphere is smaller and it is smooth. But here you can also see the cerebellum, which is present little in developed form. Then you can see cerebellum then continues with the medulla, medulla then continues with the spinal cord. So this is the structure of brain in platypus. So now if we compare this diagram with the same class, that is example is different, so with the sheep brain, that is Eutherian brain, you can see the telencephalon or cerebrum is, it is like heavily larger than that of the platypus, that is Prototherian brain. So though they belong to same class, there is so much of difference we can see. So the cerebrum is quite larger and it is divided into two lobes respectively. And because it is divided into two lobes, that is mainly because of the much developed cerebral hemispheres. So cerebral hemisphere is also much developed, whereas olfactory lobes, they are quite reduced, or it is almost similar to that of the platypus brain and also similar with that of the bird brain. But olfactory bulbs, when we compare with the other examples rather than birds, you can see olfactory bulbs were very much developed in case of reptile and amphibian, and most developed in case of fishes as well. Next is about the optic lobes. Optic lobes are quite reduced, and also you can find almost four optic lobes, that is two pairs of optic lobes. That's why mammals have this character as a distinguishing feature in them. So the presence of four optic lobes, it corresponds to Corpora quadrigemina. I explained when explaining the general characters of mammals. So this forms the remarkable feature of the mammals, that is presence of four optic lobes. Whereas olfactory lobes, as I told, it is less, it is very reduced. And medulla oblongata, it is also seen. Cerebellum is quite larger than that of the platypus brain. So this is you can also see the one more feature in case of the Eutherian brains. It is the presence of convulsions in case of cerebrum. You can see this irregular structure here in case of cerebrum. It is due to the convulsions. It is not seen in the other cases. So here this also is a distinguishing feature you can observe. So this was about the brain in case of mammals, that is both platypus and sheep we have considered. You need to remember the both, but for the academic purpose you can mention only 5 examples, that is shark, that is right from shark, amphibia, reptile, bird and mammal. From mammal you can mention either both or only one. So from this we can conclude that because of the evolution, in these vertebrate groups, the brain also has got undergone evolution. So from this we can say that, and it is very much clear that these organisms are originated from a common ancestral stock, because the general architecture of the brain is similar and it supports with the each example. So that's what about the comparative anatomy of brain. Hope you understood this explanation and also this kind of teaching. Because of this lockdown we had to take such kind of classes, but if you have any kind of doubt you can just comment. Thank you.